two before the one. Wisdom is water, I'm the daughter of the cannon fodder. Applied knowledge and insight, a born scholar. Look like a martyr to marauders like Tartar. Wise owl slaughter, whack MCs order applauder. Original woman, decipher the womb. Crown of creation, fruit of the planet, earth and the moon.
Peace, peace, peace. Welcome to another episode of Wise the Dome. Oh man, today's a very special guest, man. You've seen him on the show before. One of my favorite MCs, man. He just dropped a classic, you know what I'm saying? What up, Vern?
What up?
Peace, G. First, I wanted to say, man, congrats on the album Lost Angel in Sin City. You sent it to me early, and I knew you had one, man. You know what I'm saying? I knew you had one with this. But again, congratulations on the new album, bro.
Good looking on that, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate you playing A&R for me and taking a listen before I put it out too, because I try to float it to the people I trust that I respect you guys' musical taste. So, if I can send it out and be like, hey, tighten this up, or give me a little outlook so I can kind of fix it before the masses get it.
Oh yeah, man. Well, look, it was an honor to even do that. You know what I'm saying? But amazing album, man. And first I want to build with you. Last time you were on the show, you were living in Cali. Now you've moved to Vegas. How's Vegas treating you?
Oh man, Vegas has been a vibe, bro. Actually came out here to reconnect with my immediate family. They've been out here for 10, 20 years and shit. Moms, big sister, little sister, nephews, cousins. They all kind of migrated here, years ago. I was in a situation in California. I'm from Los Angeles, but I was living in this small town called Bakersfield. It was mainly for work. And once I got out of that career and freed up some space, I could move around. So I decided to come out this way. And it's been cool, man. It's been real cool.
Dope, man. Has been, because I know what it's like to live away from family, man. I was away from my family for like 20 something years, right? And whenever you're closer to them, it's, in a lot of cases, man, it can bring a little bit more, peace to your psyche or whatever. Have you felt any of that, and has being in Vegas like changed the way you've been approaching your music?
Well, I feel like it's just like you said, bro. Like being around moms, it's my sisters and everybody kind of put me in a different space. I don't know if I had separation anxiety all these years or not, but my family pretty close knit. It's just moms and my two sisters for the most part, so it ain't a lot of us. And being back in the same town and feeling that energy a lot closer than it was, it makes a huge difference. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, I'm happy. It was a good move, and ain't no state taxes here, so you gotta go a little farther.
Word. Hey, man, you know what I'm saying? That's a beautiful thing. All right, first off, before we get into Los Angeles, Sin City, I kind of want to go like the art gallery pieces, right? Everybody go support those. You can purchase those on Bandcamp as well, but you can also stream them on all DSPs. What was your idea of creating these art gallery pieces? Because for one, they're extremely dope, but I think they are somewhat different aesthetically and musically of what you were doing previously.
Okay, the gallery piece series came about just like trying different approaches to the music. What I noticed, and we talk about it sometime on the timeline on Twitter and at different places, is an album could drop today and people act like it's old 3 weeks later. So I feel like the attention span is it's a two-part answer, by the way. I feel like the people attention span is short, so I just wanted to give them like a more or less something like a drive-through meal, just something quick. It's 3 songs. And, it gives you replay value. If you like them, you're going to keep playing them, but it's just enough to kind of get your attention. Also, I wanted to work with a lot of different producers this year, and I didn't want to jumble them on one project. So the ideal kind of like they give them, each one would be their gallery or their exhibit, and we'll do a different thing for each producer.
Wow, I like that. That's dope. technically, is Los Angeles and Sin City a part of this gallery piece? You run that you've been
Yes,
on? Okay.
it is. It's like, okay, if you look at, like, I try to frame this whole thing sort of like a movie,
Mm-hmm.
and it's almost like you would say a spin-off or an attachment to, right?
Right.
Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
called Los Angeles and Sin City, but there's a sign hanging that say a gallery renovation vacation.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing with that is it's the curator of the gallery, stressed out working the gallery, and he takes a trip to Vegas for the weekend and kind
Right.
of falls into whatever Vegas has to offer. So yeah, it's just like a spin-off from the series.
Dope. Well, we're gonna definitely get into some of that. Before I want to kind of build on the album cover. I think all right, so like, I come from the era where album covers were important, man. And some of the, and even before my time, with some of the greats of the 60s and 70s, and being artistic, and the art and the album cover matching the music, or being a companion to the music. I think this album cover might be my favorite album cover this year. Like, what was the idea behind that?
Okay, salute to Zara Hills on the artwork, man. He did all the gallery
Yeah,
pieces
he
artwork,
he did
and
mine
he
as
and
well.
he basically does my artwork. I don't
Mhm.
really see going nowhere else. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
Shout out to him. Originally I had a different picture in mind, and we worked that up. And it was a picture actually when I met up with my man Jay Femin
Hmm.
out here, and he came out here with his wife in Vegas. We linked up and was hanging out and took some flicks. And then I ran across like I don't want to misquote it, and I don't even know if I ran across it or if Zara ran across it, but it was like an old Metallica cover or
Mm.
something in that vein.
Hmm.
And I know I was like, I want something like this. And he
Hmm.
said, say no more, give him 2 3 weeks. And
Hmm.
when he sent me the rough draft, I knew we had one.
Yeah,
And it's so funny how I feel like the cover really
it
captures the
does.
album. You would think
Hmm.
I had the cover first, but I
Right.
didn't.
Right. Right. And that's why I wanted to kind of mention the cover before we started getting into the actual music, because like, I mean, we both know it's album covers are important. We come from that vein, where we want the album cover to represent the album to the best of abilities. And just looking at that album cover, like, for me, I think that definitely is my favorite album cover this year, man. So definitely salute to Zarhill. He created my album cover as well, so another shout out to him. But so let's kind of get into it, man. In Los Angeles, Sin City, it starts off with Getaway. And listening to Getaway, it gives me an eerie feeling, right? You bring the song and album in, like, with hard lyrical bars, based on the reality and what Vern is up to, no pun intended. But tell us about that intro track, and just the vibe of it, and how it came about.
Well, it's funny because that's the last track I recorded and wrote
Mm.
for the album. The intro is the last thing I did. Originally, it was going to start with the Casino Steps joint.
Hmm.
What happened was I was working on the project, and I just felt like, hey man, you never really just like do an intro record, something short and sweet, and kind of set the tone. And I went back in and shout out to Urban Nerds Beats. I went back in and copped a couple more, and I found that one, and it just kind of came together. It was real organic. Like, my kid was in the kitchen really cooking and shit. And I was like, all right, well, let's just, throw this skit together real quick. She really did, jumped in. We did that. And I just want to set it off like, okay, that's me leaving the house, getting on the freeway.
Right.
That's the start of the adventure.
Mm.
And I'm glad I did because it's a lot of people's favorite. So,
Yeah.
I just tried to, basically give you that, the beginning of the movie is real important.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it's a good movie, you sitting there. If it's not, if the intro ain't good, you'll go get popcorn. I don't want
Facts.
nobody to go get no popcorn.
Right on. Now that's interesting that you say that, with it being the last joint that you recorded. Now that you look back on the album and look back on the process, One, I know you're definitely glad you came to the mind of, setting it off this way, but even in like the technical part of the process, with everything being already recorded the way it was, like what was your thought process of setting it off, with the intro, knowing that the story had been kind of told already throughout the album?
Well, like I was saying, I kind of felt like the story was all the way good,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't have no beginning.
Right.
I felt like you kind of walked in on it already playing,
Mm-hmm.
and it was good enough where but you never saw the beginning.
Right.
So my process is kind of easy, man. It's almost like what they call a method actors, where you get in character. When I'm in a concept, I can stay there, and I just got to find pieces that fit it.
Yeah.
And like the beat kind of spoke to me, and I just knew, like, okay, if this is what it is, okay, you got to leave the house. You got to make your way from where you're coming from to where you're going. Tell that story real quick, or give them a glimpse at that. And that's what I tried to do.
No, you did that great, man. It definitely brings the album in. It's definitely like you said, like we never heard the album without the intro on it, but we won't, so we are from the beginning, we got the full story. But like, I know hindsight is 2020, but looking at it like I mean, that was the perfect move, man, because you brought it in crazy, and like that's one of my favorite joints as well. On excuse me, on I'm Just a Lost Soul. You say I'm a what is it? I'm Just a Lost Soul. Ain't no GPS at the crossroads is how track 2 comes in, right? Some of my favorite
steps.
Yeah, it's some of my favorite bars. I think that's one of the, things that whenever we listen to a What Up Vern album, we know it's going to be lyrical, but we also know it's going to be introspective and dealing with either telling a story or dealing with reality, how you see it, or just being able to articulate what millions of us feel, you know what I'm saying, that come from the places that we come from. But anyway, these are the type of joints, in my opinion, that this album represents, like a voice to those in the struggle, right? And if you can build on that for me, because listening to that, especially, setting it off from the intro, like, okay, now with track 2, like you're automatic. All right, now you're in it. You're in the driver's seat now. You know what I mean? Put on your seatbelt. You know what I mean? And that's another this pun, I would say, but I just love how you brought that in. Ain't no I'm just a lost soul. Ain't no GPS at the crossroads. If you can, just kind of go into the idea and thought process behind that joint.
Well, with the Casino Steps, that was probably the first joint I wrote, and just like to stay with the theme, that it's the guy is out there, I guess the character or whatever, and but that line, it just means like sometimes you got to make a decision, and it ain't nobody to help you make. You got to figure it out. There ain't no GPS, there ain't nobody telling you where to go. But you got to get where you're going.
Right.
And it speaks to speaks to most people that we are pretty much lost, and we just trying to figure it out. And like in my life, I don't play that I got it all together card, because it does nothing to help get it together.
Yeah, you're right.
I think that it was a quote like Bruce Lee said, you got to be careful what you say in your mind, because your body don't know if you playing, you joking, or whatever. So I feel like if you front and you get comfortable just keeping up the front, that's enough, instead of just getting what you're trying to get,
Right.
So that's what that line was. And Casino Steps is basically just that, like, trying to figure it out. People be fucking up, and it's not saying you'll never do it again. It's just acknowledging it and trying to figure it out,
Right. But that's what I love about it, like, is the fact that even though it's a it's telling a story. It's even though it's I would consider it a concept album in a lot of ways.
Definitely.
But even though it's telling a story, it's telling, like, we've all kind of been there, like, in certain ways throughout our life, man, and that makes it extremely relatable. What is the difference? And you kind of mentioned like a method actor. I thought that was pretty wise. Like, what's the difference between writing an album from the perspective of What Up Vern compared to creating a story and a whole universe within that story to get a point across? Like what is the difference in approaches?
Well, it's I think in this one with this project, it's like I wanted to go in because my work. I'm usually heavy on social issues and
Mm-hmm.
or kind of what I'm going through in the mental health stuff or whatever. And this time I really want to separate that part from the music and kind of just give you a different side that I don't think I show enough. And we are artists, so you paint it a little broad, you exaggerate it a little bit to tell the story to make everything connect. But I just wanted to give you like the perspective of a person that just don't have his shit together, like
Mm-hmm.
that it's a constant I'm messing up, I'm doing this, I'm trying to figure, because I think that's really most of us opposed to the buttoned up people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the difference is when you separate the personal, you don't have to worry about how much you're divulging or how much you're sharing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like on this one, you really like, it's like an almost out of body experience. Like I'm gonna tell this story, but it's a story.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? It
Right.
got bits and pieces of truth here and there, but for the most part, it's fiction.
Right.
And I'm gonna just put myself in this situation and make a story out of it. And it's easier to do because there's nothing to bind you. You can connect it how you want to.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. And that's dope. And part of that story, right, is the beats that you use for the soundscape, right? And I think like you chose the perfect beats, man. If you can talk about how important, whenever you are creating a story like this, whenever you are creating a concept album, a universe on wax, right? Like, how important is it to have the right production to kind of help be the vehicle of where you want to go with the album?
Well, it's I have a few producers that I have relationships with, and for the most part, it's kind of like a vibe, man. Like, say I work with producer A, and he just sent me a pack, and everything in that pack kind of goes together. It's like a symmetry to that pack of beats where they all kind of work together. When it's like that, I kind of sit that aside. So like, okay, this is gonna be a one-off.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I can take 3 or 4 different producers and make a project from that. But it's very like when the beats already kind of have a symmetry to them, it's easy to kind of put something in that box.
Right.
You just usually just kind of figure out the angle, and it comes to me really out of nowhere. And then I just work it from there. If I can get 2 songs within that world, I can finish it up. And that's just how I do it. I don't force it. If it ain't coming, we'll scrap it and do something else with it,
No doubt, no doubt. And I think obviously I think when it comes to an album like this, obviously production is important. And I feel like you showed improved like a great ear in seeing like where you wanted to take the album, because the joints that you picked are perfect for what you're doing. You know what I mean? I think it goes together perfect with your lyrics. One thing that I saw about this album, even though it's a story, right? In some aspect, even though it's a story of a character per se, it still represents, like, even though he's messing up, he's fucking up, it represents hope in some aspects too, you know, with themes of having, you know, faith in the law and the paper chase and the grind. And it's not all doom and gloom if you can peep, right? It's reality. You know, as you say, it's hard out here, but I bet on myself. You know, like that's the struggle, like with the motivation to win. Like if you can just speak on some of that, because I thought that was powerful messaging, man.
Well, I just think like we all deal with dualities, and you know, I didn't grow up with a lot. Most of us didn't, but you were still happy.
Right.
You still laughed. You still cracked jokes with your cousins and your aunts and everything. And you know, even if moms had to throw the Betty Crocker cake in the oven, y'all did birthdays and blew the candles out, and you still made a way out of nowhere. And that's I choose to tell that story, bro, because like for the life of me, I'm an independent artist, and not just for myself, but just for most of us. I don't understand how the audience is really living a life closer to us than the mainstream artists that they put they support behind.
Right.
Meaning, you will tweet about all day and Instagram all day a dude that's telling you, you broke, I'm gonna fuck your bitch, pay her rent, piss on your kids' toys, and you ain't gonna do shit about it. You at work, you're a square.
Right.
And you love that shit. While you on your way to work, being a square. And I can't understand it when you have cats that's kind of really closer to your struggle, telling your story, and they don't get behind it. But I refuse to get up off of that.
Yeah.
Because I think it's important to just give different sides to this music. There's so much music and so many people doing it that you can kind of pick the sides you want to display. And I think it's silly to try to do everything. So I stay where I think I'm good, and I'm not comfortable. You never get comfortable, but I know where my strengths are, and I just try to stay there.
Do you think that for indie artists like yourself, obviously you don't succumb to it, but do you think for others there might be some pressure to go that route and talk about that, you know, the bullshit compared to what they want to talk about because they think maybe the bullshit is going to get them where they want to be faster?
I can tell you this: I'm older, and I come from an era where it took like months to save up for like 3 hours of studio time and shit, right? And a lot of these younger cats, and even some cats around my age, I think they don't understand the freedom that they have when they're creating. And a lot of people try to emulate the model of what they think how the industry works. And I personally, I mean, like if you got the resources to kind of run that model and it's working, cool. I'm not knocking it at all. Me personally, I don't. And that doesn't work for me. I think the best part about being independent is you can do what you want.
Right.
The internet makes everything an even playing field as far as you're still in the same spaces with the majors. You might not get the same listens, but you're still there. So I just take that shit as an opportunity to run my program. I'll run my program. But I do think a lot of artists haven't really figured out their art. You know, it's a journey. So
if you can't talk about that song, what is it? What is that? Because you know, when we think of stuff like when we think of the journey, right? We think about the journey within self a lot of times, and our journey to, you know, where we get to where we want to be financially, or you know, our mental health. But you know, you rarely hear artists talk about the journey artistically, right? What does it mean for artists to, you know, find himself artistically, and what is that what is that journey like? What is that about?
I think artistically, I mean, for my definition of it is, it's like when you find your voice and what you want to get off, you finally figure out. I mean, creatively, you can try different flows, patterns, or whatever the case may be, but you know who you are as an artist. You know what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do. Perfect example. Perfect example. I had a kid. I had stopped rapping, and then when I had my daughter and got back to it, I knew I couldn't rap about what I was rapping about before because she's gonna grow up and hear this, so I had to kind of change it up. So I had to figure a new way to do it. If you look and you can check the Nas catalog, I don't think he's never did nothing close to Uchi Wally again.
Right.
He didn't want to do that, and I think he compromised his artistic, his creativity to do it, and he never did nothing close to that again. Right. Because eventually he figured out, like, with the shit with Hit Boy now, like, it's the best Knoxville have never heard, because he's very comfortable and he's sure of what he's doing now. The stakes is different. You don't have to rap. He's rapping because he wants to now. It's a different thing, right? Like, I think for me, I don't have a desire to get a record deal. I'm not looking to be signed. I got a career. I'm cool. Things is, my daughter about to go to college in the next year.
Dope. Right.
So thank you. So the pressure ain't the same, but some of these kids' dreams or people's dreams are bigger than mine, or different than mine, and I think that affects how they go about making music.
No, that's wow, that's wise. It kind of sounds like that journey artistically is definitely tied to the journey of finding who you are as a man.
Yeah. I mean, they go hand in hand. I think back, like, if I would have got a deal back when I was really at this shit, I don't think I would have survived it.
Right.
Because during them times, I wasn't buttoned up. I was a lot more wild and, just into different shit, and it probably wouldn't have been a good look. And I always think, I don't make mistakes. That's why it didn't happen.
Right.
You understand what I mean? But, I think it has to affect how they make music, because sometimes people play sports. If you're a wide receiver, your favorite receiver is Brian Ayuk or Brandon Ayuk. You try to be sweet and catch like him. Your favorite ball player is Ja. You trying to ball like Ja. So dudes try to emulate the rappers they like until they find their own voice.
Right.
That's why you like in early people career, most of the time people sound like somebody. Or they're completely abstract because they haven't even figured out what they do.
Right. Now, I kind of I saw Bow Wow kind of speaking that clip where he was talking about they kind of brought up in the mainstream why there isn't any hasn't been any #1 hip hop songs this year. And he was saying that everybody's sounding the same and people are tired of the same old, drug references, pimp references, the I'm a kingpin or, that kind of, I guess, that trope, right? Do you think that there's some truth to that?
I think there's, I think there's a lot of truth to that, but I have my own theories on it too. I do think there is a lot of music that's being made that is, it kind of doesn't have a edge to it or its own bite to it, but also I know I'm older, so I might not be listening to it right. Right. Also, I also believe just the world is catching up to itself, and just like streaming came about, I think most of the music belonged to the youth. I really believe most of these kids is only listening to these clips of songs on TikTok. So that's why shit ain't charting.
Right.
So they just finding a part of the song they like on videos they like, and that's what they're listening to.
Right.
And I think that plays a part in it too. But when the last time a new groundbreaking young old artist came out? It's been a minute. I think Corday was the last young interesting dude to come out that I thought was nice personally, and I think it's probably like that across the board.
Right. You kind of mentioned something. It's crazy, the whole TikTok thing, right? About how a lot of fans hear the clip on TikTok, and I guess they think they are fans of the artist and the music and that song. And then it's because I've heard artists talk about this, and I've seen videos of this happening. They'll go to the show of the artist that they love, they think they love, that they memorize the clip on TikTok from, and all they know is the first minute and 15 parts of a minute and 15 seconds of the song. And then when he starts playing the rest of the song, they don't know it. And I can't fathom how that is even a thing, because I grew up when we were getting cassette tapes, you know what I'm saying? And you had to I mean, you know, unless you wanted to be rewinding and fast forward, and you know, you pretty much let that joint ride, you know, and got to know the album and sit with the album, and now we're at a point where many people can't even sit with a single. Like that's wild, man. It's not good either.
Well, you think about it. I don't know how old you are, but I know we're closer in age than we are apart.
Mm-hmm.
I come from a generation, I say this in every interview I have, or I try to, is we had to fight for hip hop. My parents didn't even want to listen to it. Niggas just running over CDs and shit in the street. It was wild. The parental advisory sticker, this,
Mm-hmm.
that, and the third. Um, Things are only really valued when you at the kind of beginning of it, or it was something you had to fight for. And it's like my daughter doesn't know a world without internet, high speed internet.
Mm-hmm. Right,
No
right.
DSL, none of that shit. She doesn't know a world without Starbucks.
Mm.
She doesn't know a world without the microwave.
Right.
So
Right.
it's just, these are just things to her.
Mm-hmm.
But to us, we valued it differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the generation is music, but it's been here.
Mm.
You know, I see cats arguing like, oh, how you gonna disrespect Tupac? I'm like, bro, these dudes was babies. They wasn't, they were babies, like little fucking babies. Like they don't, you know, like I'm not gonna sit here and disrespect Otis Redding, but I can't tell you I give a fuck about it. That's my mom and them shit. You understand what I mean? I was a baby while that was playing in the house.
Right.
Now, a song might come on that I like that catch my attention, and I got a little value to it, but it ain't special to me. Mm-hmm. And I think that's this generation and these up with this music. It's here. Like, I don't know if you got kids, but they don't even watch TV. They watch the phone. Right. Or the tablet. TVs mean nothing. Why you think you go to Walmart and get the biggest TV in the world for like $400? Right. They're decreasing in value every day. Right.
You know, but I think that's interesting, though, like you kind of mentioned with the gallery pieces, you know, and attention spans and where we are. I mean, that's absolutely true. I read I was reading a book last month that was kind of, you know, building on that, and how in a lot of cases the technology that we have has helped, you know, decrease our attention spans. With that said, with the music, I found that happening to me at one point, maybe like 3 years ago. And I was aware enough to kind of be like, yo, you know, that's not how you've consumed music for the majority of your life. So I went back and I was like, okay. So I started listening to, you know, old albums front to back that were my favorite. And, you know, just to get that feeling back. And I was able to, you know, kind of digest new joints like that as well. So I understand how it can happen. At the same time, that idea that, you know, your song will blow up on TikTok and then you'll chart, and all of these things, we see that if the majority of people are only knowing that part of the song, you know, that the TikTok clip has, that whatever the dance has gone viral or any of that, if they're only seeing that, it's not about the music no more. Like you said, it's more about the avenue on how you consumed it, the TikTok clip itself, but the music is secondary. That's just kind of, and you know, that may be because I'm an old head, but that's for me, like I don't see that ending well, right? And when I say ending, I don't see it ending well for those artists that are banking on that, because I think things come back around. And whenever I met y'all brothers, you know, people like yourself and I Am God and Know It All and Rome Mallory and Backwood Sweetie, when I met y'all, I was like, oh, okay, you know, people out here really shining and going hard with the music. And I feel like what y'all are doing, and what you've shown with these gallery pieces and with you know, the new album, that when people, when the attention of the people gets back to the real and artists that are actually caring about the art, then I feel like, you know, bam, they're gonna, you know, more people will find your music, more people will find, you know it all, more people will find my album, more people will find people that actually care about the art. You have a series called Gallery Pieces that are like gallery, the art gallery exhibits. You know what I'm saying? So clearly you understand the importance of you know, viewing what you do as art. Do you think that there may be a difference, or do you think that a lot of uh, the music that may seem like microwave to us, do you think those artists even view what they're doing as art, or is it more of a means to get some bread?
Um, you know, the way things look, you know, it's really hard to tell, and I'm sure it's a bit of both. Um, what I will say is, I think an issue that with the whole thing, like, is like cats like me and the other cats you mentioned is you'll always have purists, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have kids that's like 11, 12 years old that's world champion break dancers.
Facts.
That's 3-4 decades before their time.
Yeah,
because their parents passed it down to them, and you know, they fell in love with the culture and they decided to carry on. That's how it's gonna be with the music. You know what I mean? Is people will eventually, you see it, like radio is not a driving force no more.
Mm-mm.
People got serious satellite and phones connected to Bluetooth in most cars, and they're not being, you know, they listening to what they feel like listening to.
Right.
And people, like you said, they're gonna find what suits them. Older artists, a lot of cats gave up, like they couldn't listen to rap, hip hop no more because the direction that was going there didn't suit what they want to hear. Now they're seeing it can come around because LL got an album coming out. Mm-hmm. Older cats is hip hop didn't grow enough where you can be older now and keep going.
Yeah.
Plus, there's cats like me and the cats you mentioned where you can find and they still give them to you how you want. I suggest that most artists in my position, if you can, make sure you get some physicals out there, because I think that's another thing. It's not important because they don't touch it. Mm-hmm. We used to look at covers and tear open the plastic and literally put it in our tape decks and CD changers. I think touch has a lot to do with it. Mm-hmm. Like, if the internet go down, these cats can't access half their catalog, if not all of it, if they ain't downloaded. Right. I'm sure somewhere in your house you can go break out the old CD player and open the box and still enjoy it and ride it out. Right. As I can, and most of us. So it's you value things you can touch. You value things that you see, the smells you've had. Like, these are sensations that lock in your memory. I don't think you get that in this digital age. I'm no scientist, I don't know, but I just don't think you get it.
No, I 100% agree. Because you're right. Like, I have, you know, I have physical copies of a lot of albums that are my favorites. And you remember, like, especially when we were younger, you know, you get a tape or a CD and you open it up, you seeing who produced what, and you're looking at the album cover. The album cover is, you know,
it's like football cards.
Yeah, exactly.
You knew every engineer. You knew who did the fucking what.
Right.
Like, I think about, like, one of my biggest hip hop memories was when Doggy Style was gonna drop. And I remember the news, the LA News, all of them, Foxy, they always in Long Beach at VIP looking at that line, which was like maybe 10, 20 city blocks waiting to get it.
Wow.
I'm like, that'll never happen again.
Right.
So all you gotta do is wait till 9 o'clock Eastern time. It's gonna be on your phone.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's the thing. We used to have to, you know, stand in these lines or skip school and go get and so it was part of the journey was just getting up to the store and being able to get it if it wasn't sold out. You know what I'm saying?
Spending your money on whack shit. You didn't even get to hear it. Right. You bought it and you got home and you had to deal with it.
Right.
That was it. Right? Like, but all that brought a different value You got to run to school like with your Walkman or CD player, iPod, wherever you was at, like, listen to this. I found this. Are you heard this yet?
Right.
You know, you swapping tapes and dubbing. Like, it's just like, it's like go outside on Christmas Day, you ain't gonna see nobody out there on bikes or playing football. They in the house.
That's crazy, because that's how we grew up, man. Yeah.
And it's like, you know, our parents used to say that shit. Our things is different. You know, nah, it really is. It is just different. And, you know, the way they place value on whatever they place value on, it's more about the image of the artist more than what the fuck they saying.
Right.
And I say this with no disrespect, but like in my world, a Blueface couldn't exist.
Right.
You understand what I mean? Like where I come from, that wouldn't work.
Right. Right.
But he's interested enough where they write stories about him, and he ain't had no music out in fucking years.
That's crazy, right? Like to where like, yeah, these people are, and you know, it's not, they haven't had music out in years, but always in the headline, rapper Blueface does this, or rapper such and such does this, and they ain't had an album or a single out that nobody has heard or cared about in years. You know what I'm saying? Like at this point, when you're gonna stop calling them rappers and calling them reality TV stars?
Think about how this shit work, even in the positive. Benny just was the first out of the whole Griselda to chart and get a platinum or a gold record out of all this time. They merch fueled that movement. You understand?
Oh yeah,
but that's just a new way
and all of that
of going about how you got to attack this game these days, because it ain't really about the music.
Right.
It's different. So, you know, cats like me and other cats, it's like, I'm throwback, and I got the opportunity. I can do it. I can put it out. Nobody can stop me from doing it, so I'm going to do it. Like, it's just pretty much simple as that. Like, mantra is no expectation, no disappointment. You give it to the world, they do what they do with it, you know. And this right now, I'm winning a little bit. People seem to like what I just put out, so
I think people love what you just put out, bro. Like it's an amazing album. Like, do you think we might get a physical CD or vinyl from that?
You know, I'm sitting here and I'm literally, because I'm the company, I do it all, and I'm really looking at how things is moving, and I got it set. I just didn't push the button because it just got to make sense.
Right.
If it makes sense, you know, I'm gonna put it out. I'm trying to figure a way to gauge it, and I'm, you know, maybe this interview, if y'all see this, DM me, let me know if you would like a physical copy, and I'll figure a way to get a bundle together. And do a limited, that way it won't hurt too bad if I just don't want to sit on product. You know what I mean?
I know that's the thing that I was looking at whenever I was looking at pressing up something for Waz the Dome. That's a tricky game, man. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to just be sitting on stuff and then you kind of out of some money. So I definitely understand that.
Business, right?
It's
supply and demand, and like at least with like your streaming shit, you doing numbers, you not doing numbers, it don't hurt the same as looking in the corner. You got fucking 2 boxes of records that ain't moving, like that failure in your face every day. Like you don't want to see your Spotify numbers don't look. You know
right.
That box is sitting there every day staring at you though. So I can't have that right now. I'm still in this move transition, and also it gotta make sense.
When it comes to the album Lost Angel in Sin City, you know, people often say, or rappers often say, man, you know, my joint is like a movie. Like not every joint is like a movie, but this album is like a movie. When I was listening to it, I felt like Quentin Tarantino could direct this movie, right? Like, and I think like whenever you are doing a concept album, that's what it's like. It's like a movie. It's a story through audio. But whenever you whenever you listen to the complete version, did you ever have a moment where you sit back and it's like, yeah, man, like I executed this like perfectly, and it does sound like a movie?
Well, I can tell you, and I like, it's funny because only people that know me. Like I've only told a few people how this shit even started, but it's the weirdest shit. But it came together. It was 5 songs initially. And Hand to God I didn't like the mix has changed and all, but I literally was feeling myself slipping into like this depression one weekend. And I was like, nah, I'm not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and got me a gang of bud and I just locked in and I wrote, like I would write a joint. I went on BeatStars, found dude, bought a gang of beats, and I would write a joint, I record the joint, and I fucking mix it. And I write a net, like I just kept working, like from Friday to Sunday. Come Monday, I got 5 joints. And the thing about it is, if you study anything about bipolar anxiety, it's like a mania component to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pulling from all these different weird places in my mind, but it's coming together perfect because I got a foundation. I know what I'm trying to do. Around the 3rd song, I'm like, okay, I told you to take like 2-3 songs to really kind of lock in, you know, and I'm really initially just sitting here like, damn, I'm out here in Vegas, what the fuck? But then it just blossomed into what it blossomed into. Cause like I said, even with fighting out the depression, I was even more like, I'm not going into this personal shit. Let's spin this shit.
Right.
You know, so I got movies on while I'm writing shit, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Hangover. I'm just, you know, I'm literally like 72 hours. I probably slept twice, knocked it out. And after that, I was like, okay. I had another gallery piece to put out, and it helped me slow down the process. I'm like, let me just keep going. And that's, you got what you got.
Wow. Wow. See, that's even doper, man. Just to hear the, you know, the idea that there was like, whenever you're, you know, with bipolar disorder and you know, having feelings of, or like a mania, and you being aware enough to be like, nah, I'm not finna go down this road this weekend. I'm finna lock in the studio, even though I'm having these feelings, and create. And this is what we got, man. That makes that, to me, that makes the album even more special, man, because not only is it a dope story, like great lyrics and great beats, it shows how, like, even it I don't know, I think it's a test to your strength, you know what I'm saying, where you was even able to see that and was like, no, I'm gonna do whatever I can not to take myself to too dark of a place. I'm gonna get these thoughts out on paper and create a masterpiece with it, man. That's powerful, bro.
Yeah, I mean, all praise to God. But that's the thing, man. Like, from my study and the disorder and from just psychology and all, most things is your thoughts getting away from you. When you angry, when you fucking sad, even sometimes when you too happy, this shit is getting away from you. And I don't think we can completely control it, but you can kind of control what you can control, and you can talk yourself down. You know what I mean? I'm a firm believer in, like, people like, oh, that's just how they are. That's just how this person is. I'm like, that's bullshit. You got an opportunity to change things until you're dead.
Right.
You're not stuck. I mean, physically, if your leg fucking is cut off, can't do nothing about that. But your habits and the way you look at things, you can always expand, either get rid of the bad and expand on the good. And when my thing is, I just know idle time is a bad thing. And just, you know, when you just fucking let the shit get away from you, it's like your dog getting off the leash. It's gonna take you an hour to catch it now because it's gone. You know,
right.
instead of, you know, tightening up on that leash when you feel it slipping, save you a lot of time. And that's what it was with the project. It's like, just ride it out. You enjoy doing music. You know, you enjoy, this is a good space for you. Do that. And it just came, you know. Right. That's why I say I give it to God, because it just kind of organized all the madness into what we ended up with.
No doubt, man. And yeah, this is definitely, like I told you, this is one of those ones for me. It's definitely been in constant rotation, man. This has been a pretty dope year in hip hop. You know, and I don't have to look to the mainstream to find what I'm looking for, you know. And so that's dope. And I definitely encourage everybody to stop, you know, saying things like hip hop is dead, man. You know, you're just not looking in the right place, because it's live and well.
You're not looking at all, and that's lazy. hip hop is dead if you looking for the shit you used to learn to be provided by the machine. It's dead. It's not. It's dead and buried for you. But if you embrace this change and just learn this technology enough, like don't age yourself out of your enjoyment. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like keep fucking learning this shit, some of this shit, so you can enjoy it, especially if it's the majority of what things are. My mama know how to work Netflix because that's
Right.
where her shows are.
Right.
My mama down there 70 years old.
Right.
You understand? But she learned because that's what it is. Most people learn cell phones when babies know how to work tablets off the jump. But you do what you got to do. Same with your music. Just look for it. You can Google it. You can Google it by age.
Right.
A lot of niggas tag that shit. That's contemporary hip hop. If you're looking for some shit closer, you know, it's all out there. It's an ocean of fucking art out there. It's not all gonna be what you're looking for. I ain't gonna disparage nobody, but
yeah,
yeah,
no doubt, man. Yeah, you know, what's next for whatupVERN, man? As far as musically,
musically, I think I'm gonna just continue to promote what we got out right now, and I'm literally experimenting. You know, I got a couple things cooking with a couple different producers, and I'm gonna continue the gallery piece series sooner than later. But right now, I think I can benefit from concentrating on marketing and promoting. I'm not super strong in that area, but I want to, you know, I think the album will need more attention. I think it can reach a lot more ears and, you know, get its just run. So I'm gonna push this for a minute and just, you know, try to figure out more techniques on how to promote and market. And, you know, I'm open for features. I owe Rome a record. I owe a couple cats some records. So I got to catch up on that now that my project is done. So I'm gonna be doing that too. So, but just doing the stuff, man. Just, you know, playing the game how we play it and loving every minute of it.
No doubt, man. No doubt, man. That's a beautiful thing, man. Everybody, if you haven't heard the album, go stream the album now. All DSPs. Also, go to Bandcamp. Go to Bandcamp and buy it, man. That's a way where you can, you know, show your appreciation to the artist. Go stream Los Angeles, Sin City, man. It's definitely one of those ones. Matter of fact, before we go, my brother Ruler Devon lives out there in Vegas, and I sent him the album, and he talked about how like he's lived in Vegas for years, you know, but he talked about how the album like encapsulated what really be going on in Vegas. Like it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's a whole universe unto itself sometimes, right? And he was like, man, this album did that. So I definitely want to you know, shout my brother out and shout you out as well, because, you know, being somebody. Yeah, no doubt.
It's funny, bro, because I've been here since October, and I'm telling you, I wasn't an LA cat that like frequented Vegas a lot, even though my people was here. I didn't come out here a lot. When I got out here and the way the situation was set up, man, like shit I hit the ground let's just say I hit the ground running. And it was wild real quick, and I had to real quick.
Right.
I mean, this is city, bro. Like this is one of them places like I'm single and you know, I got a job and, you know, I'm not hurting too bad, so I can move around and figure things out. And it, like I got the picture I painted really is what I've seen in such a short time, man. Like it's
real. It's real, man. It's real. I you know, I remember talking to a dude in Vegas, man. It was a older dude, and he was homeless at the time, and he talked about he went out there with millions, man, but couldn't stop playing poker. You know what I'm saying? Like people don't know those are real stories out there in Vegas, man.
Every weekend you will see a whole family on the side of the road hitchhiking because they done lost the whole thing.
Damn.
You understand? Like this is since I've been here. Like I'm just going. You see it every day, every weekend. Then lost the whole thing. It'll do it. Damn. Right? Like if your constitution ain't strong and that's what you into, you know, like I just see people go broke off scratchers, dollar scratchers, you know. So it's just whatever your Addiction is, if it gets the best of you, it got the best of you. And unfortunately, people like to gamble.
Yeah,
you know, and you can bet on damn near raindrops when they hit the ground.
Real talk, you can bet on anything. Yeah.
So
you can bet on anything, man. But awesome, man. I'm glad you're in great spirits, man. I'm glad everything is going well for you in Vegas. Also, I'm definitely proud of you when it comes to this album. It's an amazing album, man. So everybody go run it up. What up, Vern? Appreciate you for coming through. Also, I definitely wanted to thank you. I've thanked you many a times, but I wanted to thank you again for, contributing to the Wise the Dome album as well, man. So I appreciate that.
I want to take the time to say, go grab that Wise the Dome album. The talent that you assorted and the way you guys put it together, like I literally changed phones. I forgot about that verse. Ain't heard it. I think it was like a year or so.
Yeah, it was like a year.
And the way you guys, put that together, it's in rotation. It's a great album. So salute to you. Thanks for having me. Salute to everybody out there, man. All y'all did your thing. And one thing I'm gonna just say is support each other.
Right.
We really are our own community, and just support your people. You know.
No, I agree totally.
Support each other.
Like we'll get further collaborating than we will competing.
There's no competition on this tier where we at.
Right.
Your fan base is my fan base. My fan base is your fan base. So just,
exactly.
Just sometimes just retweet somebody's shit. Like I ain't gonna name no name, but I seen a thing one day, man. This dude is so supportive, and he put out his art, and it just sat there. Nobody touched it. I mean, if it's not your taste, cool. If it's a good dude, push their shit, bro.
Yeah, right.
If they good people and they support you, you owe them that support back, bro.
Agreed.
Like, we ain't. I don't got fans. I got supporters. Y'all supporting some shit.
Same, right.
I ain't got no fucking fans right now. Fans put you in big ass houses and all that shit you see. These people are taking my dream and supporting and say you good enough where I'll take the time to listen and support you.
Right.
And we can do that for each other, bro.
Yeah, most definitely, man. So we'll end it on that sentiment, man. Salute and until the next time, G.
Thanks for having me, brother.
No doubt. Peace.
Peace.